You know, Google just restructured inside of, and now has become, you know, has gone inside of Alphabet, and you have all these other companies. I wonder who in this space, either maybe not inspired is the right word, but who do you look to in this space? You said, hey, we really respected how they did this, and you know, this, you know, became a good pattern for us to follow. Who is there anybody that you look to and said, hey, they've done a great job at, as they've grown, to structure things better internally?
What was interesting was that we studied this question of what we should become when we finally grew up. And when we got to 50,000 employees, we said, like, we've grown up finally. You know, you have your own internal view as a small company that had all these people attached to it. And what had happened, I was CEO for a decade, then Larry was CEO for 4 or 5 years. And Larry kept saying, there's something wrong with the mission statement, the goals, and the structure. They're too diverse. So Larry spent quite a bit of time studying how Berkshire Hathaway was run, and he admired and admires today Warren Buffett and that structure. And ultimately, he drove a process which caused Google to become Alphabet and Google become the subsidiary company with room for others. And of course, they're all different letters, and each of the CEOs is called characters, and you know, we have our internal jokes on this stuff. But you know, Google is the G, and Nest is the N, and so forth and so on. But the real goal, and the serious goal, is that these are serious businesses that will have their own incentive structure, their own leaders, their own financial planning structures, and they will succeed or fail based on the same principles that we did when we were much smaller. That's a pretty tough instruction. And if I could just describe big companies for a while, having spent a lot of time in big companies tend to want to do this, but they're also not willing to take the risks of doing so. So they end up with product market divisions, which are, quote, competitive with private companies, but they're not run like private companies. So Larry, in particular, took the position that if we're serious about this, we're going to do it. In typical Google fashion, we announced this without having worked out all the details. I think it's now fairly clear how we're going to operate it, and again, we've had a good year as a result of this.
Did you ever consider other names when you first heard Alphabet? Did you fall in love with it? Did you?
There were a couple of different names, but I think everybody liked the notion of alphabets because we said, well, you know, we have letters, and then after a letter, we can move to transcendental numbers. You know, we have different naming schemes for everything.
Any you want to share?
No.